is Ray.
Hi, this is Michael.
We're in our episode of Ray's Economics Booklet today to talk about market structures and perfect competition.
Okay.
So first of all, there are four total market structures for an economy. The different types of markets. There are perfect competition, monopolistic competition, oligopoly, and monopoly.
Yeah.
Basically, perfect competition is where basically there are many sellers, and basically each seller is a price taker, not a price maker. Which means they can't no seller has any meaningful impact individually on price.
Yeah.
Monopolistic competition is also a lot of sellers, but each seller is differentiated by different products. For instance, they might make a different type of food or a different type of product.
Yeah.
So it's the same general category, but different. There's product differentiation going on. So not all the products, not all the sellers are the exact same.
Sure.
So they can have an advantage in some areas, other areas. Oligopoly is obviously where there are few sellers, and monopoly is obviously where there's only one seller.
Yeah. For example, we are going to focus on perfect competition today.
Yeah.
For example, like farming products, like apple, avocado, those kind of things. Monopoly, of course, that's like a public utility, right?
Yeah.
Or like De Beers for the diamond example.
We see there's a spectrum. The left towards the left is the more open to the more or most competitive type of market structures, and to the right is where there are the less competitive or least competitive market structures.
Sure.
If you get more competitive, there are more sellers, and it's obviously a more efficient market overall. And if there's less competition, there's only a few to one seller, and then there's less efficiency overall in the market.
Sure.
And so we see here the other three types of markets outside of perfect competition are what we call imperfect competition.
Sure. Yeah.
So what exactly specifically does a perfect competition market looks like? Well, the industry is the price maker, not any individual firm. No individual firm has any meaningful impact alone on market price. And so we see here the industry basically dictates what each firm experiences in terms of demand. Why? Because in a perfectly competitive market, demand equals average revenue equals price. The price level is each firm's demand level because the firm takes the price, they don't make the price.
Yeah.
And so we see here, in the long run, the firm in a perfectly competitive market only makes normal profits.
Yeah.
Because we see here, if they make a positive profit, if the price level is so high that they make a positive profit, then that means that since there are many firms and there's no barriers to entry or exit in the market, in this perfectly competitive market, if you're making positive profit on average for a firm in the long run, then more firms theoretically will be enticed to enter the market in the long run, and as a result, since more firms are entering the market, there's more supply, price goes down, and so the demand for any individual firm goes down, and they go back to making a normal profit.
Yeah, actually, we have to pay attention that on the individual firm's level, the price, the demand curve is actually flat.
Yes.
Because it's perfectly pricing elastic.
Yeah.
Why? Because they are price takers.
Yeah.
They don't have any negotiation power on the pricing itself. So on the firm level, if that's a perfect competition, the demand curve is actually a flat line. It's a perfectly elastic demand curve, right? So it's price equals average revenue equals demand equals price equals marginal revenue. That's very important because that's the individual. But on the industry level, keep in mind the demand curve is aggregate demand. It's just from the buyers. It's still downward.
Typical slanted
typical
curve,
classical.
The industry is the price maker. The combination of all the many firms are the price makers.
Sure.
Now, on the opposite side, if a firm is making negative economic profit in the long run, since there are no barriers to exit as well, then if on average firms making negative economic profit, firms start leaving the market, and which means supply decreases, price increases, and price will increase eventually to a point in the long run where once again the average individual firm is making a normal profit, and basically the market balances itself out in the long run.
Yeah, that's because there's always consumers.
Yeah.
There are always consumers in this market.
Yeah.
So if all the firms exit, only a couple firms left, the price will automatically go higher on the industry level because consumers are still there.
Yeah.
Okay, they still need farming products, for example. Okay. Yeah.
And so, what exactly specifically distinguishes a perfect competition or perfectly competitive market? Well, first of all the products are identical. There's no differentiation like there is in monopolistic competition.
Sure.
So, for instance, like some examples of perfect competition are avocados, hammocks, basically farm products.
Yeah.
there's really not much you can do to differentiate avocados. All the firms or producers in the avocado market make the same avocado, probably the same range of types of avocados. So there's no differentiation like there is in monopolistic competition. They're all identical.
Yeah.
So no firm has any specific differentiation advantage in that case. All the firms are basically identical as well. There's no firm with really any notable advantage. And so what defines the structure of the demand in perfect competition, we need to memorize the acronym Mr. DARP. Basically, what this means is that MR, marginal revenue, equals demand, equals the individual firm's demand curve, equals the individual firm's average revenue curve, which equals their price.
Yeah.
So, and for an individual firm in a perfect competition market, marginal revenue equals demand, equals average revenue, equals price.
Yeah. It's actually exactly a perfectly elastic demand curve.
Yeah, because as we both explained, perfectly competitive firms are price takers. They have no impact on price on demand overall.
Yeah.
And so they have no negotiation power either, because there's so many firms that are all identical.
Yeah.
And so perfect competition really increases or maximizes overall efficiency because the combination of consumer and producer surplus or total surplus in a perfectly competitive industry is maximized.
Yeah, no deadweight loss.
Yes, no deadweight loss, and typically this type of structure also maximizes output as well.
Sure.
At an industry level. And so because of that, each firm is a price taker, and because of that, there's usually thousands or just many firms in general that produce a significant level in a perfectly competitive market.
Absolutely, yes.
So for final clues, this is one of the 4 market structures we're going to talk about. All structures follow the marginal revenue equals marginal cost curve to maximize profit. That's universal for any individual firm in macroeconomics.
Yeah.
However, perfect competition also has the Mr. DARP rule, where basically marginal revenue equals demand equals average revenue equals price, because they're price takers and they're all identical. And so they have only normal profit is achieved for any individual firm in the long run, because since there's free exit, free entry in a perfectly competitive firm, firms are able to enter and exit the industry as they please, which balances out profits in the long run. And we're talking about economic profits, which accounts for opportunity costs. We're not talking about accounting profits, because obviously no firm is going to do anything with zero accounting profit.
Yeah, that's very important, because when we said in the long run it's a normal profit, which is a zero economic profit, the firms, from accounting purpose, they still make money.
Yeah,
it's not like they don't make any money. They do make money.
But they make just enough money to account for their opportunity costs as well. To make the firm just worth it.
Yeah.
And so, if we mentioned free entry and free exit, they're price takers, and their price is made by the industry on an industry level, not by any individual firm. This can be easily seen through graphs like this. Yeah, so graphics are really important. I hope you guys really pay attention to that, because it really helps you to understand the macroeconomic concepts in just one picture. Yeah, I think that's really cool. All right, thank you. See you next time. Bye-bye.